What is a mathematical model? Nope, not exactly. A mathematical model is a representation in the mathematical world of something in the real world. Maybe an equation, maybe a graph. Why are mathematical models useful? Well, back in the old days, people used to do everything by hand. People computed vast long tables of numbers and did accounting, all sorts of things by hand. Long, tedious, not very efficient. Now, of course, we have computers that not only use spreadsheets to quickly compute results, they also can display graphs and so forth. It's very easy to analyze data. Look at this. This is crash testing a car. It's necessary to crash test a car sometimes to determine if it's up to standard, but during the whole process of engineering, you're not going to repeatedly crash car over car, car after car after car. It'd be too expensive, too time consuming. Instead, a mathematical model of a car is created on a computer, and lots of computer simulations of crashes are done prior to actually building and crash testing a real car. So mathematical models are more efficient. They allow us to save time and allow us to save money. What's another way mathematical models are more useful? I want you to think of some dangerous situations. Let's say you work in a nuclear power reactor and there's a meltdown and everybody needs to know what to do. How do you respond to a nuclear power leak? Well, are you going to create a nuclear power leak in order to run a drill? No, there might be some way though to mathematically simulate a nuclear power leak and the effects of it and to see what would happen as that spread using a computer model rather than the real thing. How do you teach pilots how to fly? Throw them up in a plane and see if they make it? No, there's things called flight simulators. Used to train astronauts and pilots before you put them up in the real piece of equipment, because there needs to be a certain level of proficiency before you put them behind a dangerous piece of equipment. So mathematical models can now allow us to safely simulate dangerous situations. How do we get these really nice realistic computer graphics? And this is probably a dated picture. This isn't even as realistic as they are now. I don't know if you realize, but the people who started the company Pixar, that kind of set the bar for computer graphics in movies, were a group of mathematicians who were designing software for a company, and they would create these little animated videos to illustrate the power of their software, and pretty soon their animated videos became the hit at all the trade shows, and they decided, to heck with the software, we're going to go into the movie making business, because they got really good at what they did. So a bunch of mathematicians started Pixar. All of the computer graphics that are done are based on mathematical formulas of shape and area and the light shading. It's all based on mathematical formulas. And the last thing, predicting future trends. A very good example of that is weather forecasting. Uses mathematical models to predict future trends. Predicting future trends isn't a perfect outcome all the time, but you've got to admit that we know in general what the weather is going to do a whole lot better than we used to, and are able to prepare for major storms and get people out of harm's way. So it's very useful to be able to predict future trends using mathematics. So these are all some of the ways that mathematical models are useful.